What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Evil Ryu Day dedicated specifically to him, and this is going to be a big one. All right, so I promised you guys I would do a full comparison between him and Akuma. We're going to see if the master is still a master of Satsui No Hadou, or if it's going to be the student who has now surpassed him. I'm going to do this comprehensive breakdown a little differently this time, okay? I'm going to give who is better or what, and I'm going to put it on the actual video for you guys so you guys can see my recommendations for each. Now, we're going to do the same breakdown method, though. We're going to go through each character's garage, passive, skills, stats this time as well, and then we're going to compare them side by side, and you guys will see which one comes out on top and where my recommendations are to use each of these characters, and who, at the end of the day, is the better of the two. So, there's a lot of similarities and there's a lot of differences between them, okay? And then let's talk about that first. So, first off, in terms of drawing them, you can only draw them here from the actual limited summon draw, the special summons, using the red tickets. Remember, these can be purchased from the shop 3 times a day, or you can get them through events and just wait for new characters to come. Now, in order to pull them, you have to put them on the wish list. So don't make that mistake, guys. Don't automatically assume you're going to pull for Ryu. If you see Akuma on your screen, you're pulling for Akuma. So make sure you switch them back and forth. That's the similarities. If you get them to SSS, which will take some time, obviously, you will eventually be able to use your divination tickets in here and some of them through this method instead, which is a lot cheaper and a lot faster, okay? So that's the similarities. Now, that's where the similarities kind of end, okay? Now we're going to talk about the actual comparisons with the two. As you can see here for both of them, I have both at S+, or no, actually, he's at S. He's at S+. And we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive for base stats versus regular stats. So first off, let's talk about who they are. So, Evil Ryu, we'll start with him, is a infernal unit. He's a power type. He's a assassin. So that's where they share the similarities, is they're both assassins. And he's an Atsutsuken. And Akuma is similar there, assassin, Atsutsuken. He's also power. The difference, though, is he has a master faction. So they use the same gear, different factions. And they go against one another, okay? So they're opposite of one another. So keep that in mind. So similarities across the board there for that, okay? Just so you guys are aware. Now, let's go back to Evil Ryu. I almost said Mad Ryu. Got to get that out of my head. Let's start off with his bonds, okay? So bonds, Akuma, obviously, Gen, Fei Long, and Kami. Okay, those are the bonds for Ryu. Let's go to Akuma. Akuma's bonds are Gen, Guy, Adon, and Trendy Kami. Now, obviously, Evil Ryu is not in the game when he came out, so it makes sense that they wouldn't put him as a bond, okay? So just so you guys are aware. Real quick, let me just change this up. Just make sure I have it even. Can I change it? Do I have one? I don't have one. Okay, so I'll have to recast that. So that right there is their bond. Now, what I want to do this time, guys, is kind of go down to the bottom here and look at what their speeds are, okay? Speed 139. Akuma's actually a very fast character, okay? This is the only thing I want to compare. Everything else I don't really care about because that's going to be influenced by other factors. But speed, if you look at Akuma's 139, Evil Ryu's 115. So Akuma instantly wins that by far. Okay, so in terms of speed, Akuma will be better for that for sure. So you'll get first attack more often with Akuma than you would. Even if you had Bizang, Akuma would still be faster than Evil Ryu if you had Evil Ryu and Bizang versus Akuma versus Bizang. So Akuma wins that part of it, okay? Let's go talk about the garage real quick. All right, guys, so let's talk about Crimson Mora. All right, so grants 1 additional strike with Shoryuken for damage equal to 230% of attack, and there's no longer a cap in the Satsui no Iki, which stacks 10 times, by the way. Stack count for the effect that ignores defense, shield, and damage immunity. Right away, no stack means more damage, more chances for ignoring damage immunities, such as Bison's Infernal King, any type of shield like Abel's immunity shields, or any type of shields in general, like DJ's or Hugo's or whoever, right? Yang's gone, like gone. Summer Yang's is gone. Crazy 3-car. His 6-car, the final Shoryuken strikes inflicts the pain of Satsui no Iki on the target and then they take true damage equal to 70% of Evil Ryu's attack every second for 15 seconds. So now he creates a dot. So if you don't kill somebody with your Shoryuken or any other move that has damage immunity interruptions or ignores damage immunities, your dots will do the work for you. So this is almost an absolute must-have for him. This is going to work great on PvE, PvP, and to some extent bosses because of the extra damage and the dot, obviously, right? So let's take a look at that and go back to Akuma's now. Akuma's, on the other hand, works a little differently. Shura Marshal, gain 3 times extreme upon entering the battle for the first time. After unleashing Shinshan Gokusatsu, receive 1 stack of extreme for every current stack of Conquer. Ryu has to build over time, Akuma builds right from the get-go. So Akuma's DPS is going to skyrocket in the beginning compared to Ryu's with 6 cars. Okay, so Evil Ryu is better for, I'm going to put this on the screen for you, for vehicles, better for PvE, but not as good for PvP because Akuma's faster and he doesn't need to ramp up as much, and not as good for bosses. Okay, so bosses, Akuma's going to do better. And I'm almost sure of it. So if somebody has both at SSS +5, please contact me. Let's do a showcase together. I'll put you into the video and we can do it. But I'm pretty sure with the way this is set up, Akuma will still be better for bosses and Akuma will still be better for PvP to some extent with his vehicles. This is just vehicle, guys, okay? So I think Akuma wins the vehicle challenge for PvP and bosses, but Evil Ryu wins for PvE and like inverse world and content that's PvE related, okay? So there's that. Let's move on. Skills. Let's do the passive. Increases damage dealt by 0.3 and reduces damage received by 0.3 for every 1% HP lost. Gains 1 stack of Conquer and 1 stack of Extreme upon defeating an enemy fighter. Increases damage dealt by 0.5, reduces damage by 0.5 for every 1% HP lost. So you can see here it's pretty much Breath of Rage, his skill. Gains 1 stack of Conquer and 1 stack of Extreme when an allied fighter is defeated. So here's what Conquer does if you don't remember, guys. Increases combo 2 and triggers skill damage by 40%, stacks up to 3 times. So you can go up to 120% more damage on his skill 2, which is the best skill he has. And the fact that he can do a Hadouken as a trigger skill, also increased by 120%. And then Extreme is the ultimate Budo. Accumulates power to unleash Shinshan Goku Satsu, stacks up to 3 times, and that is insane damage. So, again, the passives between the two. We'll talk about both once we cover Evil Ryu. Okay, so let's go back to Evil Ryu's passive. Evil Ryu. Okay, passive. Fighters gain 1 Satsui no Iki when deployed in the starting lineup. All friendly fighters lose 15% of their current HP, but deal 15% more damage till the end of battle. Shun Goku Satsu is unleashed when Dragon Slam or Shoryuken results in a kill, causing all friendly fighters to lose 1% of their current HP, but gain another Satsui no Iki. Shun Goku Satsu deals soul damage equal to 735% of attack to the enemy with the lowest HP by percentage. So not just the back anchor enemy, the lowest percentage enemy. That's a big difference between their touch of deaths, right? By percentage, and character has control immunity when unleashing the skill. So that part's the same. So increases damage boost to 25%, increases damage dealt with Shun Goku Satsu to 845 when enemy uses combo 3. When Ryu has less than 60% HP, he does his touch of death once per battle. So, which one is better for PvE? Hands down, without a question, Ryu's is way better for PvE. And I would go as far as to say also for PvP. And the reason why it's better for PvP is because he targets, number 1, the lowest percentage HP, not just the anchor unit. Number 2, he gives everybody the ability to gain 20% damage increase boost, right? Or 25% damage increase boost with this skill. On top of that, if you have someone like Bison who also increases damage, they'll stack, right? So where Akuma is more selfish for himself, Evil Ryu is more beneficial for the entire group. Now, there is, of course, the issue of him making you lose HP, but that can be nullified with EX moves and a healer, right? So again, the passive, Evil Ryu hands down wins this, but there is a thing to this where for bosses again, Akuma's passive is way better. So PvE, PvP, Evil Ryu, bosses, Akuma, passives, okay? Let's talk about supers now. All friendly fighters gain 2 stacks of Satsui no Iki, but lose 1% of their current HP. The first strike on the first damage deals soul damage of 525. Then another strike does 97% attack to all enemies in the affected area. 8% boost to damage dealt with Dragon Slam for every 1 stack of this that's active. So remember, with his cards, you can get unlimited stacks. So this can go pretty damn high, which means this damage is almost unlimited based on how many stacks you have. Dragon Slam is unleashed when the stack count exceeds 3. Fighters have super armor. The fighter himself has super armor when unleashing the skill and takes 50% less damage. So that's a lot. That's a lot to unpack there. Okay, so let's go to Akuma now and look at his super. Let's go to super, right there. Strike the nearest target enemy with Shoryuken, dealing 695. So higher multiplier with the lifesteal. So he has lifesteal. So instead of losing HP, he gains HP. So Evil Ryu loses HP, he gains HP. But he only does a single target while Evil Ryu does a multiple target with his second attack. So they're evened out there for damage, but Evil Ryu has an edge with the AoE, okay? He has an edge with the lifesteal. Increases damage to 799. Gain 1 stack of Conquer upon use. If there are already 3 stacks of Conquer, gain 1 stack of Extreme instead, okay? So this right here, again, very selfish, right? But more powerful. So this move is going to be stronger as a single target damage, while Evil Ryu's move is going to be a better AoE damage dealing move, but also stacks yourself with Satsui no Iki, which gives you guys more damage you can boost. So this is overall a better ramp up move. So this will actually do more damage in the end because of how much of this boost you can have with 3 cars or 6 cars, even better. But for now, Akuma's is still going to be better for overall damage, okay? For single target. This is better damage overall for single target than AoE, so because it's multi-targeted. Who's better? To be quite honest, it's pretty evened out. It's pretty evened out, right? You take less soul damage and 5% more damage from other issues. You have higher pressure, obviously. So Akuma's Conquer and Extreme is better than the Satsui no Iki, but I feel like the 8% damage boost here, because it can be unlimited, will eventually match up to it. So I'll say pretty evened out there, okay? Okay, let's go to combo 1. So this is a trigger, Metsu Hadouken. So triggers unleashed by the player is automatically unleashed after the Shoryuken is unleashed, and the stack of Satsui no Iki is at greater than 5. So once you have more than 5, this will be unleashed. Trigger intervals 18 seconds, deals soul damage equal to 382%. The enemy energy is lower by 60. You can see here it gets lower by 120. So he lowers the energy bar for enemies with this. But the problem is, it's a trigger skill. You need 5 or more Satsui no Ikis, and it also triggers every 18 seconds, which is pretty long. If you look at Akuma's, Akuma wins this one easily, hands down. Akuma's is not a trigger skill. It's an actual combo. This one here unleashes a Fire Engulf Hadouken at the nearest enemy for a heavy hit, dealing damage of 327 and 100% base chance to burn. Gains a Conquer, gain a 20% increase to flame and soul damage when he does it. So because you get to control this, and it's 100% burn, which is an incredible debuff, and you can stack it with other burns, and you can have advantage like from Fei Long or Flame Chun-Li. This one kind of wins it because it's not every 18 seconds. You can do it way more often. Plus, his FS allows this to happen even more often as a trigger skill as well. So I think Akuma wins this one. All right, let's go to skill 2 on Akuma. Instantly strike the enemy, anchor. So the anchor only, okay? Remember that. That's the difference. He attacks the back unit, while Evil Ryu does it on the unit with the lowest HP. Fighter 7 times, dealing flame damage equal to 715 of attack, and a 50% chance to inflict a burn. After unleashing, gain 1 extreme and lose all stacks of Conquer. If 3 times extreme are there, skill changes to Shin Shun Goku Satsu on its next use. So essentially uses up all of your stacks, but it does 1,105% damage with a 50% chance to do weaken. No Conquer stacks are consumed when using this skill. As you can see here, it goes up higher in percentage and damage, essentially. That's the thing, and it goes to 100%, I believe. Increases Raging Demon and Shunsuku base inflicting of burn and weaken to 100%. So really, really powerful, like super powerful. One of the strongest C2s in the game, easily, especially for bosses, okay? So let's go to Evil Ryu's. Evil Ryu's right here. Skill cannot be unleashed. Again, it is a trigger skill, which is actually pretty good. It's a good thing because you can use this with combo 3s. Whenever a combo 3 is used, all friendly fighters lose 1% of their current HP, but gain a Satsui no Iki. Fighter strikes 6 times at the enemy, dealing lowest percentage of HP. So again, attacking the unit that's the weakest with HP, dealing soul damage equal to 750% of attack. Damage dealt is increased by 8% for every Satsui no Iki. So this can ramp up to be way stronger than Akuma's, okay? When the fighter's Satsui no Iki stacks up exceeds 3, skill will ignore a certain amount of the target's defense, with the amount being given percentage of HP already lost by the fighter. When the fighter's Satsui no Iki exceeds 3 skills, he ignores damage immunities and effects. This wins by far in PvE. Like, there's not even a question. Like, this wins in PvE because he ignores Bison, he ignores Abel, he ignores everyone's damage immunities, shields. It doesn't matter what they have. He will automatically pretty much one-shot them, especially if he has a lot of the Satsui no Ikis stacked up. So, this wins hands down in PvE. PvP as well, I feel like it's really, really close. It's hard to tell because for the most part, the anchor fighters are the hardest hitting fighters. So Akuma, the fact that he hits the back unit and the front unit with his C2 makes it hard to ignore. And the fact that it's like super high in percentage because with the 6 cars, you get 3 extremes right away. He does as strong as Shin Shun Goku Satsu right away and pretty much kills the third unit, like, or the back unit. So with Evil Ryu, you can do the same. So I'm going to even it out in PvP. The benefit, though, with Evil Ryu in PvP that Akuma doesn't have is the fact that he can kill off a Bison, and most people use Bison in the front. So Evil Ryu gets the edge in PvP only for that reason, because he can kill off Bison and anyone else with shield immunities, okay? Ables, etc., right? So Ryu gets a slight edge for that specific effect, okay? So overall, skill-wise, Akuma still the better boss unit from what I'm seeing. Okay, and again, I would love somebody who has both at SSS plus 5 to come out and work with me to showcase it like we did with Chun-Li's. Ryu, I think, has a slight edge in PvP and has a major edge in PvE. So overall, the skills of the better of the two is going to be Ryu. Little more healing required to keep him up, but he brings you everything you need to conquer PvE and PvP mode. So I think Evil Ryu wins that for sure. Now, the last thing to cover here, guys, is going to be their actual fighting FSs. So let's go into that. Let's go to bio, and we'll do both this way, okay? Since I can't really show you guys any other way, unfortunately. So challenge. Okay, so fighting skills. Brace yourselves. This is crazy. HP, attack, defense, and crit damage. Okay, really good things to have. Satsu Surge. When an enemy Satsu Surge, sorry. When an enemy uses combo 3, when Evil Ryu has less than 30% HP, he does Shun Goku Satsu and is unleashed on the enemy once. So he does 60% and 30% now, right? So 2 times. Unless this is now becoming 1 time at 30%. I can't verify that yet, but we will soon. Assist. Takes effect when the fighter is in assist position. Assisted fighter loses 50% of their HP when deployed in the starting lineup. However, they deal 20% more damage until the end of the battle. Easily one of the top assists in the game, bar none. Imagine putting that on Bison. Imagine. Bison's HP doesn't matter. So the entire time, you're going to be doing 20% more HP if the other opponent, of course, doesn't have another Evil Ryu to take your Bison out. This can be applied to anybody because that 15% HP isn't lost completely. It just needs to be recovered. So EX move, heal, you got 20% damage for the rest of the fight. Easily, guys, one of the best assists in the game. So if you don't plan to use him in your main lineup, which would be crazy not to, his assist on Akuma, for example, on bosses, is going to be now the best assist in the game. Put him on Akuma on bosses and watch Akuma blow everything up. Put him on anybody on bosses, as a matter of fact, and watch things get blown up. So best assist in the game for damage for sure. For damage, specifically, okay? Unleash Shun Goku Satsu can interrupt the target's skill. So now you have an interrupt. It is, of course, a trigger skill. So you can't control it, but it's there. So if randomly and timing works out, you can interrupt, which is great. Shun Goku Satsu has a 100% base chance of inflicting silence on the enemy for 6 seconds and cannot be dispelled. Now that is a big difference. That means even if the opponent has a bar built up, they cannot use anything to at least on that target to start off a combo for 6 seconds. That's a lot of time for you to build up yours and attack again. So massive FS20, and then FS30 increases the damage dealt by Shun Goku Satsu by 30%, and the skill now ignores targets and damage immunity effects. A must-have, an absolute must-have. So FS30, bonkers, absolutely crazy. Okay, so that's his. Let's go to Akuma's now and see if we can see his real quick and do a comparison there. Akuma, unfortunately, gonna have to do the same thing, guys. Go into the bio, trial, and go through this route. But at least I give you guys all the information you need to know. Okay. Exclusive to Akuma beats the slaughter. So when Conqueror's active normal attacks become Ashura Senku, which deal 50% more damage and fill the super combo gauge by 50 more points. Incredible, by the way. Really, really good. So this is going to be a little more consistent than the Shun Goku Satsu for Ryu's trigger, right? So this is a lot better, in my opinion, of a transformation skill. Assist. When a fighter is in assist position, summons a fireball. When assisted, deals damage with a combo. The fireball deals damage equal to 50% of attack. Yeah, no chance. This doesn't stand a chance compared to Evil Ryu. So Evil Ryu's assist, way better than Akuma's. So you actually want to put Evil Ryu on Akuma as an assist for bosses. When the enemy is affected by Burn Shin, Gokusatsu damage increased by 20%. When the enemy is afflicted by Weaken, it does another 20%. So this is really, really good. So I would say, because the other one is a trigger skill to interrupt, this wins it because you have more control and does way more damage. So I think the unlocked at 10 skill for Akuma is actually better than Ryu's because, again, there's no control over Ryu's. It's just a matter of luck. So because of the control factor, this 10 wins. Unlock at 20, unleashes Ashura Senku, gives 40% chance to gain 1 extreme. Ryu's wins with the silence, for sure. The silence is way better. Akuma becomes Ashura after using Shin Goku Satsu. When in Shura form, unleashes Saketsu Hadouken after the enemy unleashes a combo or super combo. It counts as a trigger skill and deals 5% more damage, though it will not grant any Conqueror Shura. Expires after 3 seconds. Listen, their FS30s, pretty much the same. They're equally as important for each character. So I would say the same there. So who's got the better FS? Honestly, it's hard to say. I would say even across the board because Evil Ryu's is better at 20, Akuma's is better at 10. They're even out at, you know what? No, I'll give it to Evil Ryu only because his assist is better. So overall, a slight edge because the assist is probably the best assist in the game for damage dealers. So Evil Ryu wins that. Last thing, guys, I want to put into the video before I forget is the usability at what rank. Ryu, because of his skills and because of his damage immunity interruptions and removals, and bypasses can actually be used as an A rank, while Akuma actually is required by all means to be SSS plus 5 to actually shine, or just at least SSS minimum, but you want to get all your DPS to SSS plus 5. So usability right away, Evil Ryu wins that by far. So I just want to point that out real quick, add that into this video before I forget, and hopefully that kind of answers that question as well. So overall, guys, the best unit in the game right now, by far, is Evil Ryu. Yes, he is more important than Akuma. Yes, he's better than Akuma. But if you do require a boss killer, Akuma is better of the two, in my opinion, currently, based on what I see on bosses. Now, if anybody has both of them fully built, please show me some numbers, work with me, and I can do a showcase with you on this channel to show the community why they should be going for one over the other for certain scenarios. All right, guys, this is Payne. I hope you enjoyed the comprehensive breakdown. Let me know if you have any comments or questions. I'll see you guys in the next one.